Hey there, I'm Cole Bowden. In this video, we're going to be talking about engines in Firebolt, how to size them, and how to create them. In Firebolt, an engine is your compute layer. It's what takes and processes your SQL queries. Now, you can have a number of different engines in your account, and those engines can connect to any number of databases. In turn, your databases can be connected to by any number of engines. This is that separation of storage and compute, where there's no enforced correlation between an engine and a database. Any engine can access any database and vice versa, and that guarantees that you can use your engines for what you need. Now, when you create an engine in Firebolt, there's a lot of different options. You can have number of nodes, node size, compute family, and number of clusters. The smallest possible engine in Firebolt is thus a single node, small engine with the compute optimized compute family and one cluster. But you can scale up from there. You can create another engine in your account where you use 2 medium nodes and 1 cluster. And this would be 4 times the cost, as from small to medium, you're doubling in cost, and to add another node, you're also doubling the cost as well. Now, to continue to scale these engines, you can add clusters. A cluster must be a copy of everything that exists in that engine already. So it must have the same node size, it must have the same number of nodes, and it must have the same compute family. So 2 medium nodes, if I added another cluster to this engine, it's going to have 2 medium nodes as well, doubling the price once more. Adding clusters is generally the most important thing to do to scale for concurrency, as your engine will intelligently route your queries to the different clusters and ensure that each cluster receives a relatively equivalent workload. Now, that's a lot of options in terms of sizing your engine, and a later video in this series will go into exactly how to select the right size engine for your workloads. However, for now, we're going to move on, and I'm also going to mention an important option for your engines in the form of auto stop, auto start, and auto scaling. Auto stop and auto start make sure that when no one is submitting queries to your engine, it shuts down. If it has been idle for a configurable amount of time, the engine will stop, and thus it'll stop being billed to the user. Auto start guarantees that when a query is submitted to that engine from any connector or client, the engine will immediately start up and get results back as quickly as it can. Auto scaling is an option to have a configurable number of clusters in your engine, and if a workload is saturating the existing clusters within an engine, you can auto scale by adding more clusters to handle that increased traffic, and then when traffic subsides, you can auto scale back down to reduce on cost. Now in Firebolt, we can take a look at how you go about creating an engine. Just like with databases, there's 2 different ways to do this. We'll explore the UI first, where you click on the red plus, and then you click on Create New Engine. This will open up a pop-up where you're able to configure and select the various options for that engine. We have to name our engine. We can select the node type for our engine. This is the size, from small, medium, large, or extra large. You can select the number of nodes in that engine. You can select the number of clusters. And you can also click on this advanced settings caret to open up a drop-down with even more information. Automatic start of that engine configures if the engine will begin when a query is submitted to it from a given client. If you want more control over when your engine is running, you can disable this option. Automatically stopping your engine is that auto stop behavior, where if the engine has been inactive for a set configurable amount of time, it will shut itself down to reduce cost. You can configure this to any number of minutes, 5, 10, 20, 60, a custom number of minutes, or disable it entirely. 20 minutes is the default, but you can go longer or shorter as you desire. And you can also configure to start the engine immediately upon creation. We're not going to do that in this scenario. But you can see if I create this new engine, it's going to show up as my test in the engines dropdown here. Now, there's one other engine in Firebolt that's the unique engine, and that's the system engine that I have selected right now. The system engine can be used for any kind of administration that doesn't involve actually reading from tables. In this instance, we'll be using the system engine to create an engine. I've written this SQL syntax to create an engine called myTest2, and just like in the UI, it comes with the same options. So I've configured it to have 1 node, I've configured it to have a minimum of 1 cluster and a maximum of 2 clusters, so we'll auto scale up to 2 clusters under heavy workloads. It is a small node type, it's in the compute optimized family, it won't be started when I run this command, it has that auto start functionality enabled, and it will auto stop after 5 minutes. So if I run this query, you'll see that we have created an engine successfully, and we have this engine, myTest2. There's a lot more to be said about selecting the right configuration options for your engine to right size it for your workload, as well as when you want to think about using 1, 2, or more engines. So stay tuned for later videos in the series, where we'll be talking about workload isolation and right-sizing your engines. Thanks for watching.